Everybody, it's Bucky again with Top Dollar Home Offer. We buy houses now, Tulsa, and in the surrounding communities. I wanted to shoot a video here that it often gets neglected by homeowners, and sometimes we just forget about these problems and they can sneak up on us and cause major damage to our properties that we own or properties that we haven't seen in a long time, especially if it's a rental property you haven't been there in a while. So there's really 5 or 6 of these categories that we're going to talk about today. I just wanted to make you aware of those. So if you own property, be aware. This is something when we buy houses now, it's also we look for. So these are some major things that can sneak up on you, especially when you're fixing up a property or when you're going to keep the property long term. These can cause major significant damage to your property, which in turn, major money, right? Big capital expenditures cause, depreciation of your bank account, and we don't want that to happen. Or if you haven't bought a property or sold a property in a long time, then you just need to make sure that your house isn't at risk, or if you're buying a property, be sure to look out for these issues. So as you can see, there's some funny repairs on this page here, but the one I like to talk about first is called termite damage. It's interesting. This is a requirement that banks require when they go to lend money on a property that they're going to hold for a long time. They know the significant problems that this causes. I often wonder why they don't look for other major things. They do. We'll talk about another one here, but some of the other stuff, it doesn't always get picked up on the inspections. So you need to do your due diligence because termites are very bad news for homeowners or investors. You can cause severe wood damage in a short amount of time. They come in, they infest your house, they destroy your floor joists, they destroy your sill plates, and that's what holds your house up from the foundation, right? So when a house is built, there is a foundation, a stem wall that's built, there's usually blocks, or there's a slab, right? After that, the wood is attached to that foundation, to that slab. And when I mean wood, on the bottom of a wall, there is a 2x4 or 2x6, depending on the home or interior of the home, that sits on top of the floor joists. And the floor joists hold up the walls, and they sit on top of the foundation. So there's usually a sill plate, there's a wall where all the floor joists attach, and there's even beams that run under the house that can be ate away by termites. They often build these little tunnels that go up to the bottom of the house, and they will chew that wood apart, and your house will fall. So you want to make sure that you don't incur any termite damage in your house, because if it is left untreated, you have major repairs that will be needed. And involving a floor up, ground up restoration of a house that has major termite damage gets into lots of expense, because you may have to jack up the house and put in new floor joists. You may have to replace sill plates. You may have to replace studs in walls and tear out walls and replace them, depending on how bad the infestation is. So you want to stay on top of that. It's scary that more than 30% of homeowners don't even have the money set aside to take care of these damages that incur like this. So if you own a home or have owned a home for a long time, get out there and look for signs of termites. It may not hurt to have a termite inspection if you suspect it. Crawl underneath your house if you haven't. They can also identify other problems that we can talk about here in a second. Another major issue in homes today, especially depending where it's at, is mold. Black mold just creates havoc in homes. This happened actually to me in one of my properties. I had a water drainage problem, which caused black mold, which rotted out my floor joists. And I've already talked about that in another video, but you can go there and see what black mold is about. But this is one of the major repairs that could be costly in capital expenditures in the future. So the mold infestations, they start out small and they spiral out of control very quickly, and they can cover an entire house. So if you have a vacant property and you haven't been in it in a while and there is moisture problem involved with that house, your house could quickly be covered with this toxic black mold. And it is aggressive, and it will rot out the floor joists, it will rot out the walls, it will be difficult to remove, and it's a very, very expensive repairs. You typically have to get professionals to come in, and it's not an easy fix. So be aware of those problems. Another big area that we'd like to talk about, sometimes people don't even notice this, and sometimes it's very noticeable. Overgrown trees. And what does that mean? It means trees are beautiful in our neighborhoods. It provides our home shades, which reduces our cooling and heating costs could be. But those trees can be the same bigger problems that could affect your home, right? An overgrown tree is beautiful in the yard, but you don't want them too close to your house, right? Trees are very heavy, and not taking care of a tree can cause massive damage, like branches break off. Here in Oklahoma, we don't get a lot of snow, but we do have heavy ice storms that come in. And if you have a branch that's hanging out over your fence or your home or, anywhere that could touch a window, if the limb broke off, then you're setting yourself up for major damage and major repairs. So keep those trees off the home. If you have trees and vines that's growing up the side of your home, that just causes more chance for bugs and moisture. So you want to clear those things off your property as fast as possible. The tree removal companies, they're out there, they're everywhere, but it's worth it to get those trees off and away from your house. Look for those limbs, walk around your house today, go outside, walk around your house today and see if that limb broke off, where would it hit? If that tree fell over, where would it hit? Those Bradford pear trees are beautiful in the spring, but they fall like pencils being pushed over or dominoes being pushed over. After they get so old, they seem to split and fall apart. So if you have a Bradford pear in your property, I would highly recommend to check out where, if this tree fell, what would happen. It happened to a neighbor of mine a few years ago. Little windstorm came through. I lost a shingle, but he lost a tree and it landed right in the middle of his driveway. It missed his house by about 1.5 feet. If that thing would have hit his house, it would have put a big giant hole in his roof. So what else do you need to watch out for on major repairs? If you still have an old home, there's a lot of old homes here in Tulsa that have old electrical systems. There are many different causes for fires or damage or potential damages. So you just want to be on the lookout for old electrical wiring. One of the things that I like that when inspectors come in, or you can do it yourself, you can go down to Home Depot and buy a little electrical tester and you can plug it into plugs and that'll tell you if that plug is grounded correctly, right? Meaning that nobody's done any funny stuff behind the walls before you bought the house or after you bought the house in case you had a renter in there. So you want to ensure that the electrical wiring is in place, that's safe, and it won't cause any future fires or damage, because that is where a lot of problems come from in home fires, is from electrical issues. If you have an old circuit breaker box that uses the round screw-in fuses and you just bought the house or you've had the house for a while, or if you had a renter in there, they will probably be overloading some of the circuits. And I would watch out just to make sure they haven't put a penny or some kind of piece of metal behind the fuse, right? That's what the people used to do back in the day all the time, because they got tired of buying the $3 or $4 fuses every time they plugged in a hairdryer, right? So they would actually put a penny behind the round circle fuse, and that would keep it from ever tripping. But that makes those wires hot, and it can start a fire in a heartbeat, okay? So be aware, if you have an old breaker box in your house that uses the round fuse, I would just take 5 minutes, unscrew each one, look behind it, screw them back on, okay? And then go around and test all your outlets. Make sure that you don't have any outlets that are not grounded properly, okay? So let's talk about one more thing that's usually picked up in inspection, but that causes major issues in homes. It's foundation issues. There's parts of Tulsa here where they have slab floors that, the ground around that area just moves all the time, and it's difficult. There's some procedures that we can do to, jack up the floor and level it out. But, if the foundation isn't strong, you're going to have issues all throughout your house. It causes cracks in your walls, cracks in your ceilings, and settling. Oftentimes these older homes in Tulsa have been built out of sandstone foundations, meaning that today they pour a cement foundation and put cylindrical blocks that are made out of cement. In the past, they used sandstone, and sometimes that breaks down over time. And even the wall plate or the floor joist, the sill plates there will actually tend to slip off. If you have a chimney, an old fireplace in your house, that's another critical area that can put a lot of weight and resistance on that foundation. So I would definitely check for that. Anyway, those are a few of the major things that can cause major problems and capital expenditures in the future. So I would double check through your home today to make sure there's no trees overhanging, there's no termite damage, there is no old electrical system and foundation issues. There's also other things like damaged roof, and especially if there's any moisture getting into the house, you want to look out for that. But I appreciate you tuning in here today. I hope this is beneficial to you. Again, get out there and look at your house if you haven't in a while. If it's a vacant home, give us a call. We Buy Houses Tulsa. We can give you a cash offer. Or if you're wanting a top dollar home offer, we do have 3 options when we come out and meet with you to give you the best value for your house and help you out of your situation. Thanks so much. Have a great day.